Okay, so I wanted to make another video, and this topic is going to be about how how I ended up sort of, I guess, guessing or thinking. Now that I think about it, at the time I had no idea, and this is what's so confusing about it, is people think that I knew anything about this, about my mother getting a dream makeover's house, or you got to understand that to me, there could have been anything else I didn't know about. I mean, when I was working at this is a story about me working at the architectural firm at PBK, which is, there was 3 different architectural firms that I worked at, Aguirre and Gensler. This was at Clear Channel radio station, like the floor right below it. And I worked at the architectural firm as a service rep. And I remember that I was running out of money, my electricity was getting cut out, and I decided to go maybe try to look for a second job, because one of the reasons that I did was because I had a brother of mine that I got money from, and I couldn't pay him back, and I still owe him that money. It was $2,300. It was a stepbrother that was in New York, and for my father's first marriage, and I couldn't pay the money back. So after about a month or 2, he didn't see any pennies going sent to him, and he was real pissed off, and he called me, and he goes, "Hector, I don't care if you have to, I don't care if you have to get a second job or a third job. I want my money." And that's what he told me, and I was trying to complain to him and tell him I had nothing. I was getting tickets. I didn't have any money. My electricity was getting cut off. I was not getting barely any. When I did get overtime and when I did apply, I couldn't find a job. It was extremely stressful, because the recovery process of my transplant was there was no recovery. There was no really, like, you take a couple years off just focusing on lifting weights and eating healthy and relaxing and having maybe a small part-time job. No, it was a struggle to try to even pay my electric bill and pay my rent, and afraid I was going to lose my car and my apartment. I couldn't focus on music anymore. I couldn't focus on many other things in life. And sorry, they're making me pass gas while I'm talking here and waiting for the drift to smell to start rising. Anyway, so I went, and I started working there in the middle of summer, I'd say about March, and then I lost my job, and I worked there for a total of about 4 months, and 4 to 5 months. And when I was working there, I ended up, when I was at PBK, I decided, people could tell I was broken poor, so I decided to go try to look for a second job. I'd occasionally ask the office people, like, "Hey, is there y'all know if anyone's hiring, trying to look for a second job, for another job, try to get a little bit more income?" And it was, difficult for me, because, I felt like I was just put back on the workforce, and I couldn't really relax. I felt like I couldn't just really just do what I wanted to do, and it was a good job, but I was making such little amount of money that I really couldn't afford anything. And that was very difficult for me, because, anyway, so I'm working there, and that was my first job after my transplant, and I decided to go, and I applied online on Craigslist, I think it was Craigslist, and it was like a sales rep for a telemarketing company. And I wasn't used to phones or anything like that, and I went to this other building. It was at another building, and I got there, and it was like on the very top floor. It was like 11th floor or some shit like that. It was maybe not 11. There was probably a total of 11. I think it was on like the 5th floor, 5th or 6th floor at least. And I get there, and I wait in the sort of like lobby area, and I'm waiting for an interview, and they come and ask me for an interview, and it was kind of a really lame interview. Like, it didn't even feel like an interview. It more felt like like this person was just weeding out human beings. And I think I noticed when they opened the door and they were coming in from down the hall, when I looked and what was going on, a lot of cubicles, people on their phones, and telemarketing. But when a guy was walking up to me and then he sat down, and I was stressing because I needed another job, I needed money, and I guess he could tell, you know. And but I was, you know, trying to find out, hey, you know, what's going on? You know, I'm looking for some extra work. And he said, well, we do what we do here. And I goes, no, I don't know what you do. He goes, we give a lot. We help fundraisers, and we're a charity event we're a charity for work, or a charity for people with cancer or some shit like that. It was a charity, but it was something that for people that had cancer, or some sort of fundraiser for good causes. And I was like, oh, okay. But the way that this guy said this, he looked at me, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to be doing a fundraiser on a phone line, and ain't nobody motherfucking help. Nobody, you know, I sort of, excuse my words, Lord Jesus. But I was like, excuse my word, dear God, but I was like, nobody's helping me, and I'm fixing to go help some other people, and I'm dead broke. I don't have any money. You don't understand what I've been through in my life, how much money I've had things taken away from me, and I was just thrown to the curb. And here I am going to do a charity event to raise money for cancer for other patients, and I'm a cancer patient. I'm getting nothing out of it but second job. It means, and I don't think, this is where the big problem was. The big problem to me was the attachment of turntables and DJing. That was really bad. That was very, very bad to have an attachment to that, because I felt like I always had to live up to that, and it was a comfort zone. And when I didn't get that anymore, it felt like, okay, I can't go to school, and I just can't let go of that and move my life into something else. And, you know, it didn't make me feel valued. I felt like I lost the value of expectations. And it wasn't until I felt like I get inspiration when I heard about people that played music for a period of time and were doing it quite frequently, and had the ability and courage to do something completely else different, you know, do something else different. And that's really great, because, you know, when I got more stories like that, I'm like, oh wow, this is not, you know, so bad. But anyway, I get to this charity where, and I'm doing this interview, and this is what I think that they were really investigating, because they already knew who I was when I got there. This wasn't because of my resume I sent to them. It was because of something else, and I could sense that. But I do recall that whenever I was sitting in the interview, you know, there was like one other guy that was with him. It was a blonde-haired guy, and it looked like another guy that was maybe role-playing like himself, like Kenneth. And the guy kind of came over. He goes, "Do you know what we are? Do you know what we do?" And he said, "We're a charity event. We're a charity work." And so this is the first sentence that I think they started to question whether I knew my mother got a house, or who was giving money to who for free within Ken Cooper, Sarah, and Kenneth. Because the thing that makes this so toxic about my environment is that people think I know what's going on. To me, all I see is I have to put the blue collar on, suit, and with a briefcase, and go to work. That blue collar guy. I go to work. I go to work. I do my normal 8 to 5. Stay at a company for a long time, for 30 years and retire, 40 years and retire. Unless I go to school, unless nobody is going to give me anything in their life. So I have to completely rely on my social skills. How well can I get people to like me? How well can I get people to work for me and favor me, other employees? How well can I extract myself? How well can I climb up the ladder in mental success and not necessarily just kissing ass? And that's not something I wanted to do or did. But for me, it was like, how well can I pivot through life without being some sort of scumbag and still having God intact in my life? And So we know the things that we do at work environments to make us successful, or interviews and mangle off things to get the job, or become friends with the boss because boss is a racist. You see how the racist things happen, or the LGBT community emerged and give them raises and hires, or how they end up helping each other because of they got their buddy system, and they got their buddy system, and you can't do nothing about that. You'll never get anywhere. So, but other than that, it was me just to stay really stay formal in the position that I'm working in, to do my job and just stay focused on that. Don't do anything else. And but there's no sense of any money. There's no sense of any kind. Julian got a car. I'm thinking to myself, like, Julian drives a fucking Regal, okay? A Regal. This is what Julian drives a Regal car that is like the biggest ghetto junk car you can imagine. Not just a junk car, but like a ghetto, like Chicano ghetto fucking car. Like, it's really very low valued in the world of white people and suburban areas and Asian people, and it's considered just like the rat's poor shit car, and where this person probably doesn't have money. Julian drives one of those, okay, and he's fixing the engine up and doing all this other shit to it, and it still looks like a ghetto junk car. I mean, it's ghetto. And the fact is that he's driving that, and he's living he has these twins, or maybe even triplets, and he's living in a mansion. Like, in my mind, he's living in Garland with this car, and he's just struggling to pay his bills like the rest of the people in the hood and in areas. They live these sort of real broken down lives in these broken down houses that look from the ghetto, and they go to work at a company, at a printing company, or they're a mechanic, and they don't make a whole lot of money, and they're real close with the neighbors and everything like that with one another, everybody in the neighborhood. That's what majorly is what I thought it was. So that's really what, to me, that really is something that, it's something that didn't cross my mind, that there's somebody giving anybody anything away for any kind of reason. I mean, there's nothing. You don't understand that. I didn't know that Julian and his twins were living in a mansion with all these kids, one mom's identical twins, and I was just literally thrown to a trash can like my sister was. Since my sister died, and I just got mauled apart by the dogs, by the filthy dogs, and they took off, and nobody wants. It was too late. And that's what my mother practiced with Frankie, and she did this with her daughter, and then she did this with me. And the people that allowed it to happen were the people in her circle, because they knew that what she held in her position, and they could put her there, and that's what they did. You can't fix time, and you can't put these people in incarceration systems and take their lives away like the way they did me, because I can't have no way of defending myself from, like I talked about, the law enforcement. Once you get stapled to the fear of law enforcement, that there's no protection, and they keep telling you that that's your personal servant, and they let you know that you're just got to keep your mouth shut to Gary Gwynn. You got to keep your mouth shut for Mike Stamos. You got to keep your mouth shut to who's really in charge. There's no sense of safety for me that I can go home to. This is why, and that's a good thing at times, because there's a lot of people out there, they got a house to go to. This is what happened to Michael, Rossiter and several other people. They got a house and a mom and dad to go to. You start fucking with them, all right, we're going to prison, we're going to jail, but I'm gonna fuck you up. I'm gonna hurt the fuck at your ass. Maybe go to prison for 10 fucking years. You're not gonna recover, and you're holding your balls and you're tough and all this other shit. But what happens? You lose your life in there. But you had a place to go to. But when you don't have those types of things to go to, you're very careful. You're very much more careful to how you survive, because you don't have anything to go to. When I get out of jail and all this other shit, I don't have anything to go to. There's no fucking recovery. Just like so many other people, they go into these, and there's nothing. So everyone knew about all my business and all my dad's business and Kenneth and Ken Cooper and Sarah and my mom, the twins, about Frankie being raped. They all knew about it. For so many years, they all knew about it, and they all used it against me. So I think it's important for me to say something about this. That most of the stuff I've already talked about, but when I went to that charity event, they were sort of recognizing some, because it was a blonde hair guy, and I remember that, and there was a guy that was posing himself like Kenneth. So you got to understand the threat that when they approached me, it was a sense that we are giving to you, and you got to understand we're the one in charge. And the guy that looked like Kenneth didn't look at me like it was any polite way, like kind of like we're in charge and we're the ones of the police. Like, it was very much like that. But it's a very different reaction that you get when you approach someone like that, because you don't know what the circumstances. The immediate evaluation that you can see is their facial expressions and their attitude toward you. What is their physical body expression, their facial expressions? What's their attitude? What words do they choose? Is it a good vibe or is it a bad vibe? Why is it a bad vibe if it is a bad vibe? These people should know who I am. I've never seen these people before. So you got to understand, then I become very surrendering to this skin color, this hair color, this look-alike. So then I understand this image. So when I see Kenneth and I understand, oh, okay, guess who's in charge? They took care of, Marissa and Frankie and my mom, and they were just doing it for the police because they were smarter. Nobody understands how many things are coming at me at one time and is evaluating. Nobody does. It is too late. I don't want to go into discussion. Just throw the shit in garbage. It's too late. So, but as far as I want to say anything else about this is, that was something I was thinking about. I was at this charity, interview at a telemarketing, and they said something about this, and I don't know if they were trying to see if I knew who was giving what away, but it was a blonde hair guy like Ken Cooper, kind of look alike, and it was, when they approached me, it didn't approach me at all like they weren't the guy that was trying to put himself like Ken Cooper was wearing blue jeans and a like regular polo t-shirt, collar t-shirt, and dress boots. The other guy was wearing slacks and a dress shirt, and some, church shoes and, tucked in shirt. So it was very weird when they approached and they were walking toward me. It was not a very formal interview or anything like that. So they knew what the places that I was going to and everything that was going on. So, anyway, yeah, people were trying to help me at times, but I just didn't pick up on it. So I thought I'd make a video on this. Think what you want of it. Wanted to make a video, and I'll talk about some other subjects if you have time to watch these videos.